Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome back to another How I Became a Fan series. This is episode 3. Today I'm going to be talking about someone that I think a lot of people would not be shocked to know about. But today I'm going to be talking about AJ Lee. AJ Lee was a very, she's one of those women that really inspired, was another one of those, I wouldn't say she was an inspiration, but, well, not to me as a person, because a guy idolizing a woman does sound a bit weird, but she did inspire generations of women's wrestlers like Roxanne Perez and even Cora Jade to an extent. Hell, I guess even Lyra Valkyria, because I saw her talk about AJ Lee in a way. Like, a lot of people, a lot of female wrestlers were inspired by AJ Lee. So she was definitely one of those women's wrestlers that really inspired generations of women's wrestlers. So it's kind of hard to argue against the impact that this woman affected upon the WWE fan base and wrestling as a whole. It's just a damn shame that WWE will never give her the recognition that she deserves, and they would never allow her to ever come back to either just have like a little one-off appearance, or even just like a brief Royal Rumble appearance, or even a Hall of Fame induction. It's a real darn shame. Even with CM Punk back, they still haven't done anything to try and get her to come back in any kind of capacity, even if it's just a little one-off appearance. But let's talk about my reasons and how I became a fan of AJ Lee. Now, weirdly enough, AJ Lee was definitely an independent wrestler. I didn't really follow her indie career. I didn't even watch her FCW stuff. And I know she was in NXT, didn't really watch her much in NXT, but it was by the time she hit the main roster, close to 2011, near 2012, is when she really started to hit her strides. She appeared on the SmackDown brand, in quotations, because remember, the draft was not really a thing anymore after that. But weirdly enough, she wasn't one of those girls that went through a long period to get pushed. She got pushed pretty quickly. She was someone that was pushed pretty quickly during the early periods. She kind of got into big storylines with Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, and all that. She had that crazy chick mentality, well, woman-tality kind of character, and I don't know, I just found her really damn cute during that period, and she was someone I really got connected to pretty quickly, and ultimately, it's kind of ironic that the storyline she had with CM Punk ultimately became a real relationship between the two. Ended up becoming a real relationship between the two. CM Punk is one lucky bastard, I'll tell you that much. But it was by 2013, everything really came around for Miss AJ. She turned heel by the end of 2012, aligning herself with Dolph Ziggler, and kind of Caitlyn kind of got risen up to the women's division at that time. Here's the thing, the Divas era really needed some new fresh faces on this roster, and this is kind of when my growth and love for AJ really started to begin more of. And now look, the heel turn in 2012, let me talk to you guys about the heel turn, because I know a lot of people probably want to hear my thoughts on AJ going heel in 2012, the whole thing with John Cena. Well, 2011, I should say. It was near the end of 2011. Actually, it was near the end of 2012. Her Divas title reign began in 2013. So her heel turn at the time, I didn't really at the time liked it, because I thought AJ was too likable. I considered her pretty likable at the time. And I was like, I think making her a heel was a big mistake. And at the time, she was kind of in a feud with Vicky Guerrero, I guess. She was kind of feuding with Vicky Guerrero, which, you know, feuding with Vicky Guerrero is never a good thing, you know. Ear bleeding. Vicky Guerrero was always so ear bleeding during these time periods. You know, I talk greatly about these early periods, but if there's only... But these time periods, man, sometimes I really... Going back to these time periods and revisiting some of the stuff for the sake of content just makes me go... yeah, I can see why some people didn't really like this time period, and even I didn't like that back in the day. Like, I didn't like Vicky Guerrero, didn't really like John Laurinaitis. There were several things I didn't like during the era I really preferred pro wrestling, in my opinion. But yeah, the whole feud, she had a big, massive feud with Vicky, and it was just unbearable. It was very unbearable and all that. She was aligned with Dolph Ziggler, you know, John Cena started feuding with him over the Money in the Bank contract. John Cena was on a downward spiral because of the whole match with The Rock, losing to John Laurinaitis and several other names along the way, failing to win the WWE Championship on multiple occasions. And then Dolph Ziggler started feuding with Cena. AJ had a bit of a brief feud with him. Even AJ Lee kind of feuded with Ziggler, you know, briefly going into his locker room and trying to attack him and stuff like that, because, you know, she's a crazy girl, she had no fear. But, you know, I didn't really like the whole period of John Cena just having his way with women. And the reason why I didn't really like it was because it just reminded me of what happened with Eve Torres and Zack Ryder. It's kind of ironic, if you think about it. It's ironic that two women went heel because of their allegiance to John Cena. Eve Torres went heel because she revealed she was using Zack Ryder and John Cena just to get her way and all that. And then she ended up with John Laurinaitis. And then AJ Lee then goes heel after being associated with John Cena. It's like, John Cena should learn, and it's good that they never tried to pair women with Cena again after that, because it kind of made you think, well, hey, it looks like John Cena learned his lesson to not pair himself with a woman, because the woman would backstab him. Well, I guess he kind of paired himself with Nikki Bella, his real-life girlfriend during that period, during the times when they were still dating. But you know, Nikki was never going to be turning on John Cena for any kind of random-ass reason. And they only got together for, like, one match against The Miz and Maurice, so it wasn't really long-term. Unlike the ones with Eve and AJ. So at the time, I didn't really like the heel turn. I was kind of shocked. I was actually shocked when I found out about it. Like, I was at school. Because remember, this was 2012. I was still at school. I was still at school. Like, not even TAFE. I was, like, just at a school, like, during middle school and all that. Like, I was just at a regular school at the time, and I remember going onto the website during our free time, you know, when we had free time in the class and all that, and I remember going on to the computers with, you know, my friends, you know, a few of my friends who were into wrestling, and we went onto the WWE.com website, and we were shocked when we all found out AJ Lee turned heel on John Cena and helped, you know, Dolph Ziggler retain his Money in the Bank contract against Dolph Ziggler, and I was in disbelief, because I was like, AJ's too likable. She was like one of the more, like, she was like one of their only popular women. Like, she was like one of their more over females. Like, why did they turn her heel? Like, I didn't get that. I didn't understand that. I thought that was really dumb. Sure, Caitlyn was popular, but Caitlyn... Here's the thing. I didn't hate Caitlyn. I thought Caitlyn was alright, but Caitlyn wasn't as super popular that AJ Lee was. During that period, AJ was pretty more popular than Caitlyn, but they were pushing Caitlyn at the time to win the Divas Championship from Eve Torres. Layla was kind of, you know, in the middle of this whole thing, you know, never really was the biggest Layla fan myself, but yeah, like they were running out of women. They were running out of women to push, so it felt natural that AJ Lee would kind of get elevated. And this is kind of why I feel like AJ came in at the right time period, because there was not a lot of women. Because if she came in during the period where they had Beth, well, she was still there when Beth Phoenix was there, but Beth Phoenix kind of left WWE roughly around the time when AJ was coming in. Like, the Bellas weren't there anymore, they were briefly still there, but even they eventually left, but they did eventually come back, the Bellas. The Bellas got released during a small portion. I remember they briefly got fired, and then they came back within a year or so. I can't remember, but I remember they got fired for a little bit, but then they ended up coming back. So they were gone for like a short period. So it kind of felt natural that women like Caitlyn and AJ were able to rise up, because, you know, they had like a really small division at the time. And NXT was kind of starting, you know, NXT was kind of coming into its own during that time period. So AJ became a heel, and I didn't really like her association with Dolph Ziggler. I didn't really like it. Like, sure, it was better than Vicky. It was way better than Vicky, but that's the thing I didn't really like. That they just made AJ Lee just like this woman that just hops from boyfriend to boyfriend to boyfriend, from boy to boy to boy. Because that was kind of like her whole gimmick during the early periods. She hopped from Daniel Bryan to CM Punk, then back to Daniel Bryan, then she went to Kane, then she went to John Cena, then she went to Dolph Ziggler. And then she went to Big E, then she was briefly with Big E. Like, she would just hot potato between, you know, different guys, and it was just so annoying and really stupid, and I didn't really like that during her heel run. Like, if you wanted to make her a heel, that's fine, but having her switch between different people was a bit annoying. It was a bit annoying. And also Big E got his start here. This is how Big E got his start in WWE, aligning himself with AJ and Dolph Ziggler. So that was kind of how Big E got his start, being aligned with Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee at the time. And Dolph Ziggler started to get popular. He ended up turning face. AJ Lee became Divas Champion, beating Caitlyn when Caitlyn beat Eve. And then Caitlyn had the belt for about 2, 3, 4 months. Like, she had it for like a cup of tea. And then AJ won it at Payback. And then AJ Lee won the title at Payback, which I thought was the right decision to have AJ win the belt, because I felt like, you know, she needed that victory, and she kind of feuded with Caitlyn, and this is my only complaint about AJ's title run. I will love AJ's title run, but my main problem with her as the champion is that if you look at Nikki Bella's title reign when she held the title for a long period, and then you compare to AJ's run, Nikki Bella rarely ever got pinned. She rarely ever got beat on random Raws or during episodes of SmackDown. Like, she didn't just... Like, sure, she lost matches occasionally, but she wasn't someone that got constantly beat every few weeks. And that was my biggest problem with AJ's title reign. She got beat consistently. She lost consistent matches to Caitlyn during their feud while they were feuding. Then when the Bellas eventually came back to do the whole Total Divas nonsense, she got beat by Brie Bella consistently. She got beat by Naomi on a few occasions. Natalya tapped her out on a few occasions. It just got very, very repetitive. AJ just rarely ever won on TV. She rarely ever won on TV, and that was the biggest thing I really did not like during AJ's run. She won on pay-per-view, but whenever it was a Raw and a SmackDown, she'd just get beat. Like, not every week she'd get beat, but it felt every week. It felt like every show she was on, every Raw or every SmackDown, she'd just get beat consistently. She wasn't consistently getting beat. She was winning a few matches, but she was never built as a strong champion. She was never built as a strong champion. Yeah, they talked about how long of a reign she had. She also had Tamina as her bodyguard, which again, because, you know, AJ always has to have someone with her. So then, eventually Tamina became her bodyguard throughout her reign. And yeah, like, even though AJ was a heel, Vicky Guerrero still hated her guts. So AJ's reign was just consistently looking weak as the champion. And this is kind of what started the whole trend of fans not liking seeing champions lose on TV, because it makes them look really weak. And look, it's okay to have the champion lose occasionally, like what I said with Nikki Bella's title reign. You barely ever saw her get beat. Like, there were times she did get beat, but it was not as often as AJ's. Like, it wasn't as consistent and as often as AJ's. But AJ lost consistently. I mean, hell, even on live events. Like, even on live events, she didn't defend her title often on live events. And even on live events, she couldn't even get wins. Even on live events, she couldn't win very often. So, like, I know she's the heel. Like, I know people are like, well, of course, well, yeah, she's the heel. Beat the heel, well, yeah, she's the heel. Like, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But if you look at how things are handled nowadays, look at Roman Reigns' title reign. Like, the guy, like, was never pinned. He only got pinned twice throughout his 4-year run. Cody and Jay. So, again, you gotta make your champions look strong. And AJ just never looked strong during her reign as champion, in my opinion. Yes, she won. Yes, she consistently won on pay-per-views. She stayed champion on pay-per-views. But yeah, her entire run was just her losing a lot on TV. And it just really didn't help her title reign. Like, sure, people will talk about how great her title reign is, and so they should. It's a legendary title reign. She beat Maurice's record as Maurice held the record at the time as longest reigning Divas champion. And I have no recollection, I have no memory of Maurice's title reign, but I don't think she got beat. She was ever beaten a lot on TV. I bet she was a consistently strong champion. But yeah, like, AJ made history, became the longest reigning champion, and then she dropped the title to Paige when Paige made her debut on the Raw after Mania. Now, the WrestleMania 30 match is like very infamous in a way, because I've heard some people say Naomi was supposed to win at WrestleMania 30. I don't know where, like, I remember someone telling me this. I remember someone telling me that AJ was never supposed to win, or Naomi botched or something, or whatever. Like, I don't know, like, it was very weird. Like, some people think Naomi was supposed to win, but AJ ended up winning. Or maybe they just changed it. Or maybe they changed the results or something, I don't know. But, yeah, I've heard a lot of people say AJ was never meant to win that. Which, I kind of find that hard to believe, but I don't know. I'm a bit indifferent on it. It's never really been confirmed by anyone. AJ's never gone out like on interviews, though she's barely interviewed. Like, she never really said, oh yeah, Naomi was supposed to win the WrestleMania 30 match. Naomi's never really been interviewed and asked about the match, if she was supposed to win or not. So it kind of makes me think AJ winning was always the plan. But then AJ, was getting married to CM Punk. She took time off. They took the belt off her and gave it to Paige. Now I didn't like Paige just walking in and winning the belt. I did not like that at all. Then after that, AJ came back as a babyface, and she kind of stayed babyface up until her retirement in 2015. AJ Lee, to me, she felt like someone who really could have done a whole lot more for the women's division if she stuck around. I think we all know the impact and she would have had for the women's division if she stuck around. We all can agree. If AJ never retired in 2015, if she continued on when Sasha Banks and Charlotte and Becky all debuted, imagine AJ versing them if she stuck around longer. But AJ said she had an injury to her back and her neck, and it kind of forced her into retirement and all that. A lot of people try to say CM Punk. The CM Punk stuff made her retire. It's very, very difficult to know why she retired, but AJ's book, though I never read it, it's something I want to read, but in AJ's, autobiography, I remember seeing something that she said that she suffered an injury, and it caused her to retire. She had some kind of serious injury that caused her to back out of the ring much earlier than she wanted to. So it kind of makes me think she would have stuck around a lot longer if it wasn't for the injury. But regardless, that's how I became but yeah, AJ Lee, she would, her run in 2012 on the main roster, from her entire Divas title reign up to her retirement, it just made me adore AJ. She was always so good at what she did. She might have been crazy, but she was the kind of crazy girl. She played the crazy girl character really well. And AJ kind of inspired a lot of other girls that kind of have similar characters, like Alicia Fox and Nikki Cross. Well, even though Nikki Cross's crazy is different than AJ's, but there was a lot of other crazy female wrestlers that kind of came along because of that. But AJ impacted the women's division the way she could, and she was one of the people that really helped break down the barriers. She stood up to Stephanie McMahon. She kind of gave the whole Divas a chance hashtag. She kind of got that whole starting and all that stuff. So AJ really helped break down the barrier. Paige and Emma really helped break it down even more during their time with their run in NXT. And Sasha Banks and Bayley really made it, and Sasha Banks and Bayley pushed down the barrier to its fullest lengths, to where the women can be treated with respect. But now the women are not really being treated that way, especially on Raw and SmackDown, getting a small amount of time. But we're kind of hoping that does eventually change. But yeah, AJ Lee really helped make the women's division great again. And I think that's why a lot of people respect AJ, because she really helped break down the barriers and made the women's division what it is today. She helped start nailing down the barriers, and other women helped break it down for her when she eventually walked away. You guys have no idea how much I would want to see AJ Lee come back again, even if it's just in a brief appearance like in a Royal Rumble, or coming back just for a promo, where she comes out to cut a promo, or maybe, you know how much I would just love to see her come back, at least maybe one more match, or even just a Royal Rumble appearance, or hell, even being inducted into the Hall of Fame one day. But I've lost a lot of hope since then. Even with CM Punk coming back, it's making me think, yeah, I don't think she's ever gonna come back, even with CM Punk basically back in WWE now. So I've basically accepted the fact that AJ may never come back to WWE. So AJ really impacted the women's division for me, and she's the reason the women's wrestlers are at where they are right now. And a lot of us really, and I think a lot of people know AJ really did that. So yeah, that's how I became a fan of AJ Lee. She'll always be someone in my heart that I will always remember. She's someone I always keep around when I'm playing my 2K games, But overall, it is what it is, and hopefully, maybe, even though I've given up hope at this point, I'd still love it if she did come back for maybe at least just a one-off appearance. So, thank you all for watching this video, guys. Hit that thumbs up, Let me know who you want to see me talk about next in this series, and I will see you all on the other side.